Documentary films are at a dangerous crossroads, on the brink of mutating into a hollow, vacant shell of what they're meant to be. Films that take risk in the pursuit of truth, shining honest light into shadowed worlds that impact us all. That's what they're supposed to be. And as a filmmaker who's poured my own life into this genre, I feel compelled today to tackle its core, possibly fatal dilemma. And that is, if in today's corporate streaming landscape, the price for documentary access is Final Cut control over the film, then where does that leave us? Let's unravel the state of the industry through the lens of Ezra Edelman's latest film, turned catastrophe, The Book of Prince, which, after 5 years in the making, recently suffered a very public execution when the Academy Award-winning director turned in a film that didn't satisfy the Prince estate. Now, just so we're clear, Ezra Edelman is one of our greatest living filmmakers. To my eye, he helmed the best doc of the last 10, maybe 15 years, with OJ Made in America, that won the 2016 Oscar for Best Documentary Feature. I say all that to say, we're talking about a director with more juice than anyone out here cooking, fresh off the crowning achievement of his career. Ezra could write his own ticket, which he did, or so he thought.
Taking on something big, taking on something bigger, working really hard, seeing if you can figure it out. So What do you do when you have all that, but it's 5 years, and it was the most painful thing and the most difficult thing, and then ultimately now the finality of the news of, oh, the rights to this now are in the hands of the estate. But yes, maybe the whole saga has officially concluded, and I lost, and this happens to be such a sort of extreme, high-profile episode in documentary filmmaking.
Yes.
That I'm like, okay, well, let's just get this out because I am after some catharsis, if not closure.
Now, many filmmakers, myself included, know what it's like to have a project crash and burn on the 1-yard line. It's devastating. So that any film, documentary or scripted, is ever completed and launched into the world is in and of itself its own little miracle. That said, Edelman's failed Prince film embodies a deeper problem rotting the documentary genre from the inside out. So what can and should tomorrow's documentary filmmakers take away from this debacle? Well, I'll let Ezra set the table stakes for us here.
Representatives for the late artist's estate previously claimed a first cut of the film was filled with, quote, dramatic, factual inaccuracies, and, quote, sensationalized renderings of certain events from his life, according to sources close to the situation.
I mean, whatever, it's a joke. I mean, the whole idea is like, wait, so the estate had, here's the one thing they're allowed to do, check the film for factual inaccuracies. Guess what? They came back with a 17-page document full of editorial issues, not factual issues. Do you think I have any interest in putting out a film that is factually inaccurate?
It is a question of who gets to claim that they have what feels like editorial authority, or less highfalutin, who has the truth on their side.
Well, that it's more like who has control.
This is the core conflict. Who has control? And who should have control? The answer lies in the divergence of understanding two very different things. Commercial propaganda versus an authentic documentary film. Keyword film, cinema, independent art, made by an artisan in pursuit of something true. So what's the difference between the two?
Right now, we live in a culture and in a documentary universe, and in some ways in a journalistic universe, where the subject gets to dictate who they are to everybody.
Correct.
And that is not the way that the Fourth Estate was set up. So my issue is that in trading for access, you now have a lot of companies and filmmakers making deals with the subject, sanitizing their story and or their image, that to me, it's like, of course, it serves them. You don't have to put in what you don't want put in, but it isn't truthful.
But that editorial power of decision-making, what deserves to be in what feels like an authoritative treatment of someone's story? Why should it be you?
Well, I'm not saying it should be me. I'm just saying because I take the responsibility seriously and I try very hard. And I have integrity as a person and as a filmmaker. I think the danger and the problem I'm finding is that what's the compromise? Of course, there are movies being made with subjects that like have some say in how the story is told or are getting paid for the access, which to me is a no-no. and gets to be a producer of their own story. And in what happens, that these streamers or whoever the distributors are, they get a film about whomever, you know?
Oh,
and
the,
you're like,
the
so
incentives align.
right. So no, and by the way, and at this point, the public doesn't seem to somewhere between care or know the difference. And that's the sad thing.
Yeah.
It's like this, they're being served slop, and they're getting used to the fact that this is like, I guess this is like like short rib. And I'm like, it's not, it's slop. And I think that's the bigger issue.
And frustrating as all of this is, I'm not here to whine and complain. I am here, however, to simplify the decision for anyone out there who cares about the future of documentary films. So, when it comes to the question of editorial control over a documentary, who gets to dictate the story? You, the audience, has effectively two choices. One, the film's subject, who is guaranteed to serve you a polished, curated fairy tale of their life. Or two, an independent filmmaker, someone who is objective and, ideally, in search of the truth. Now, you can put the word truth in air quotes if you want to, and I can already hear everybody down in the comments raving about agendas and biases and axes to grind, blah blah blah. It's called a point of view. And guess what? All art, including great films, are fundamentally a point of view expression. All of your favorite directors are famous for their point of view. It's their taste. Spielberg, Tarantino, Spike Lee, Scorsese, PTA, Coppola, Fincher, Michael Mann, Christopher Nolan. You associate a distinct point of view with each and every one of these filmmakers. Their agenda is what you sign up for. And in documentaries, of course, we're dealing with real people's lives. But that doesn't make the director's perspective any less consequential. And Ezra makes some great points. But the distinguishing quality of any filmmaker's eligibility to author a documentary is simply that we exist outside the subject's mind. This is the most important qualifier above any other. An objective filmmaker is able to see things in a subject that they are simply blind to, or unwilling to acknowledge. Either way, this objectivity is the differentiator. And at the end of the day, this all comes down to motive. Should a documentary be seeking something objective, something true, or should it be packaging some self-serving branded commercial? They are not the same. For some reason, audiences are more aware of this when it comes to books. People more natively understand the difference between an autobiography and real journalism. And documentaries are even more powerful than journalism, because they can embrace contradictions in a way that black and white journalism simply cannot. And because cinema magically combines every artistic discipline into one cosmic wonder spell of an experience, folks natively have a much harder time filtering through the bullshit, which is exactly why documentaries are under siege, because they can be so powerful. Combine all of that with our society's instinct for hero worshipping our celebrities, and boom, that's how we end up where we are. So, let's get back to Ezra.
I think the problem is this is a runaway train. Or has it already hit us and we don't know it?
Well, that's the most depressing thought in a very depressing series of thoughts that have been uttered. The whole trick of what you do, what I do, what anybody who wants to do this thing that is not being incentivized by the algorithm, the whole trick of it is, hey, guess what? It's surprising how many people want this delicious piece of broccoli with cheese melted on it.
I agree. Right. It's still entertaining. It's still tasty.
That is what I want people to remember when they are deciding whether this is just vegetables, whether this is the thing that people did not ask for, but they got because some guy feels like morally scolding them into caring about journalism. The whole point is that it can still be entertainment if you do it right.
And that gets back to the general breakdown that's always been between, like, there are documentaries and there's a Hollywood movie. And so the issue is that now the estate is going to put out its own documentary, but that's not a documentary.
By definition.
By definition, it's going to be a hagiographic, like, propaganda love letter to Prince the artist. Are you going to learn anything about Prince? I doubt it. Are you going to learn anything dark about Prince? I doubt it. Are you going to learn anything complicating about Prince? I doubt it.
So, why should you care about any of this? Well, what do you want out of your own life? Are you content simply amusing yourself to death? Throughout time, whether it was print, radio, television, cinema, and now in the social media age, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, the dominant media in any society directly shapes which ideas are deemed important, credible, and true. And this inevitably dictates how we reason and communicate with each other. And in a social media landscape that's clipping your attention span into dust, documentary films stand as a longer form source of depth and complexity. They are the last house on that block, wellsprings of context and contradictions that ultimately offer their audience a richer and more rewarding sense of their own lives. And if we poison the genre with this hagiographic nonsense, all we're left with is reality TV and TikTok. I'm sure that'll go well. Point blank, the dominance of these slop docs will leave you more passive, less informed, and less capable of navigating your own existence. So that's why you should care. Here's why I do. I know exactly what Ezra's feeling. On the tail end of spending a full decade directing my latest film, The Spoils, our movie's core subject pulled their support, pressuring me to gut it, sand it down, and neuter it so it wouldn't threaten their corporate livelihood. It was a very stressful situation. Their support would have dramatically broadened the film's reach, brought in more partners and sponsors. But here's the thing. I didn't become a filmmaker to make commercials and shill propaganda. Bending to that corporate pressure might have brought the film a bigger audience, and maybe juiced my pockets. But the film itself would have been dog shit. As it stands, I made a timeless and important film that I'll be proud to forever put my name on. I wouldn't trade this badass film for anything in the world. It's built on purpose, risk, and truth. And these are the things that make life worth living. The Spoils has impacted and improved countless people's lives. And for me, as a filmmaker, that's priceless. So I think every documentarian working now has an important question to ask themselves when they look in the mirror. Are you a filmmaker or a writer? Because when I look around the documentary landscape right now, I see way too much writing from filmmakers and audiences alike. And I'm here to tell you, it's bad for your health. I'll be back soon with a blueprint of solutions for filmmakers and audiences who care as deeply about this stuff as I do. But for now, I hope you check out my latest film, The Spoils. It was worth every bit of heartache that Ezra and every real filmmaker must occasionally endure in the pursuit of meaningful work. So subscribe to the channel and watch The Spoils for a taste of what an uncompromising documentary film can be. I'm Mike Nicoll. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you again soon.